Well, good afternoon and welcome. It's a lovely day, so let's hope we have a lovely planning meeting for the first of the term. So let's get started. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Betty Cunningham. I'm chair of this committee, and my friend here at the end, Mr McLean, is the vice chair. And we have we have Provost Mary Montague, and we have Gillian's not here. Julie Nichol here, she's sitting here. She's where are you, Julie? Planning and Building Standards Manager. And Alan Pepper, where are you, Alan? There, you're there. He's a Principal Planner. And we've got John Dugan. Where are you, John? There, you're there. And we have John Marley. Where's John? There is.
John's joining us remotely today, Chair.
He's where?
He's joining remotely today, Chair.
Oh, he's joining remotely, right, okay. And Sharon McIntyre?
That's myself.
That's here. And then, where's Leona? There, she's down there. Biggest help to me in the world. And we have got Mr Daly. What's your position now, Eamon?
Everything.
He does everything that you said was your council. And that's us. Okay, we got every new councillors. Where are we? Councillor Morrison. Oh, do you know something? That's a good looking one with the beard. Right. So, in case we get mixed up, there's only one of them. So that's us. And I think we're lucky today, we've only got one. Any declarations of interest? None, right?
Chair, can I just come in just to give apologies today?
I'm just going to ask you for that, Roo.
That's great,
You're too quick, right? Got to respect age, hen. Right, on you go.
So we've got apologies from Councillors Edlin, Lundy and Ireland today.
Who?
Councillors Edlin, Councillor Lundy and Councillor Ireland.
Thank you. Now, the first item on the agenda is the erection of residential development consisting of 80 houses, dwelling houses and 10 flats with associated access for roads, landscape and SUDs. So we've been at a site visit today, and has anybody got any questions on it that they want answered now? None? Everybody quite happy with it?
Yes, Chair, I have a question.
You've got a question? Mm-hmm.
So the nature of the question is around the noise levels.
The what?
Noise levels.
Noise levels?
Yes. So it says in the report that the noise levels at night time would exceed the World Health Organisation's standards unless windows were kept closed. And I believe that in the summertime, these new build properties have really good insulation, Chair, and that could result in quite a lot of discomfort for the residents unless the windows are left open, in which case there'd be a lot of noise from the adjacent railway.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I know I can answer some of that. The only thing it's here is a golf club, and that's got certain times it's open late for functions. But normally that area of Neilson is very, very quiet. Very quiet. As you can see, it's mostly out in the country. You can see the houses that are already there. So there really is I can verify that there's no much noise, and the roads, you know, just coming for the farm, for Craig Hall Quadrant and for there, there's not a lot. It's an area where it is really quite nice. Right, Provost.
Thanks very much, Chair. Perhaps my colleague could maybe expand a wee bit on the possible source of the noise.
Yes, I'm happy to. Thank you, Provost. What I'm referring to, Chair, is the fact that the development is adjacent to the Neilston Line Railway, and that is what's referred to in the report as the source of noise which would exceed the WHO standard. Thank you.
There's not really a lot. Would you like to come in there, Alan?
Yes. Yeah, and so the report that is associated with the application does identify the railway line as a noise source. Nighttime noise is defined as anything after 11 o'clock at night and before 6. So the actual number of train movements is very limited overnight. So you're really talking about the normal passenger train journeys. There's no freight as far as we're aware, and that's not been identified as an issue. So really you've got 6:27 train and 11:34 train that arrive in Neilston and depart. They're the last two movements. So yeah, I'm not disputing there is has been identified as a noise issue, but it's probably the impression that there's consistent noise throughout the night is probably not the impression to take away. It's occasional noise, and it's really early morning, and as I said, 11:30 is the latest.
Okay, thank you.
Right, okay. Any other questions, please? Any other thing? Right, okay, Jim.
Thank you, Chair. Just on a couple of things on EV charging points. Now, I know they've said a condition of approval could be attached to this. Is there a condition in this for EV charging points? Because I know in the LDP2 it states there has to be one in every house. The developers have not stated that they're going to do that as yet.
Thank you, Councillor McLean. Yes, there is condition 19.
Condition 19.
So we do have a condition.
So there will be a charging point in every house?
Well, the conditions worded to say that they have to come back to us and provide information of as to how they're going to do it. Yes, so that is what we're proposing in the condition. They have to come back, tell us what they're going to do, and we have to confirm our approval of it or otherwise. So
the condition would be that there is a charging point in every house, yeah?
It's not stipulating
on LDP.
Yeah, it's not stipulating every house, but that's something that we can take forward. There's not a...
Obviously with flats, it's not going to be one in every house before that, anything like that. But
we're looking to support exactly what the policy says, so there's no issue with that. We just have to address that slightly later on.
Okay, just another question. On page 23, Scottish Water have raised no objection. However, they state in their response they are unable to reserve capacity at the water and or water waste treatment works for the proposed development. Now, what does that actually mean? Is that saying that they can't take the development, or they can? I don't really understand that bit.
Yeah, I mean, Scottish Water in their consultation responses tend to have certain phrases. They actually tend to have a standard response, and that is their standard wording in my experience. So they tend not to get into the detail of each site. They give you a kind of generic response. So no, there's from our point of view, there's nothing identified by Scottish Water in terms of water connections that's a concern for us. There's no, if there were an issue with Scottish Water, they would word the response differently. The developer has to go to them and get a connection. That's separate from planning. It's just like other infrastructure like broadband, etc. So there's no concern about that from our point of view.
Okay.
Anything else, Jim?
No, that's fine.
So we've been to the site visit, we've seen the place, we've heard what the proposal is, and we've heard anything. So I think now we should really move to the vote.
Betty, can I just make one further point, please? Sorry.
I'm going to brain you.
Sorry.
Right, okay.
It's just, I mean, I know we have Councillor Morrison and Provost Montague, who weren't on the planning committee for, obviously myself and Councillor Cunningham were, and Councillor Allen, she's unfortunately not here today, and it's just this came up at the last planning application. I couldn't make it, and Betty wasn't here. But I think we need to be very careful in what we do here, because obviously if the plans are rejected today, if we reject them as a group, then this will probably go to the reporter, and in all possibility the reporter will overturn it.
Yes.
So I think it's just something we need to be
aware of. So it is recommendation is to approve, and that has always been the planners give us guidance by either approving it or refusing it on particular things. This one is up for approval. Yes, Mary?
Thanks very much. I hear what Councillor McLean has to say, but irrespective of where it might go after this, we're here to make a decision on the paper in front of us. So I won't be taking it into consideration. I'll be judging.
We only make the decision of what we've got in front of us and what we've heard and what we saw, right? Nothing else. So we make a decision today. So if we're all ready and there's no more questions, I would like to move to the vote, right? And if I can go first, I move to grant. Is there anybody else otherwise minded? Can I have a seconder?
Seconder.
Thank you. Is there anybody otherwise minded? No. Agreed. Right, so accept that as unanimous then, yes? Agreed, thank you.
I'll just confirm the decision.
Could you just agree? Aye. Thank you. Right, it's agreed.
Okay, I'll just confirm that for everyone there. So the decision of the Planning Applications Committee today is to dispose to grant the conditions following the conclusion of a legal agreement relating to the delivery of affordable housing.
Excuse me, Hen, could you talk up a wee bit into that? It's either my age or it's my ears.
No problem, I'll slow it down as well.
Right.
Okay, so the decision of the Planning Applications Committee is to dispose to grant conditions subject to the following, is deposed to grant subject to conditions following the conclusion of a legal agreement relating to the delivery of affordable housing and payment of development contributions.
Right. So, that's us. We've got 25, wasn't it, houses there for local authority or whatever?
24 affordable homes.
24 affordable homes, so that's pretty good. Right, so that's that. So, it's through. Is there any other questions on anything else? No, there's nothing else on the... Is there?
No, that's everything.
That's everything on the agenda today, so that's been good. That's a quick meeting, and very glad to have you here today, and very glad to see the backies. So thanks very much. The meeting is now closed. Okay.
Thanks, yeah.